All information given in this episode is for educational purposes and should not be tried prior to consulting a licensed physician and or certified state or accrediting bodies. We encourage all listeners to research, talk, and make all inquiries to all of the important professionals and governing bodies before acting on any information heard on the De La Fit podcast. Any action taken by any listener is done by and under their own omission and action, whether conscious to the results positive or not.
Tuned in to the De La Fit podcasts, 360 degrees of holistic fitness and health, all in one podcast.
Salutations and proclamations. It is I, it is you, it is us, it is we. Together we make up the digital family that is the De La Fit podcast. I'm your host, Philly's #1 son, aka the Body Alchemist, Sun Moon Bay, bringing you another podcast excursion. Welcome everybody. Happy Friday. It is March the 12th, 2021. It is a beautiful day out. And today is going to be an amazing show. I get to be joined by a wonderful Renaissance woman and an amazing individual, Miss Jamila B. Jamila B, for all of you who do not know, I recommend that you Google her. She is a wonderful singer specializing in R&B, and she is a comedian and all around, as I said before, Renaissance woman. She's going to be here joining us to discuss some particular topics where it comes to mental health, talking a little bit about her journey through music and her ups and downs as well, where it comes to depression. So I want you all to enjoy this interview because I enjoyed this interview. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into it right after these messages. What's going on, everybody? It's Philly's #1 son. Listen, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's a creation tool that allows you how to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a stunning podcast in one place. So listen, if you want to be like me and have your own podcast, go to Anchor.com. That's Anchor.com. De La Fit podcast is sponsored by Mountain Made CBD. Mountain Made is changing the CBD game by offering a line of high-dose CBD tablets at an affordable price. Their products are THC-free and third-party tested for accuracy, cleanliness, and potency. Their products, which ship nationwide, include Build for CBD saturation, Boost for precision titration, Recovery for rest and rehab. With 9 years experience in hemp and fitness, Mountain Made's founders are focused on creating a quality product to help those who live an activated lifestyle. Check out www.mountainmade.life to find out more about how their products can help you crush life. Remember, their products ship nationwide. Go check out their website today and follow them on social media at MNTMADE. I started using Mountain Made's Build CBD tablets to help me with the injury in my elbow. And let me tell you something. Not only is the injury subsided, but now I can do push-ups and I'm back to bench pressing. So I encourage anybody who's interested to look up, check out Mountain Made and all their products. I think you'll be glad you did.
Really? Okay, here we go. Ready?
My interview with Jamila B.
Yes.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the De La Fit podcast. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be discussing, well, first, we're going to be talking to special guests. This beautiful young woman right here, the wonderful, talented Jamila B. How are you today, Jamila?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you, son.
This is excellent. For everybody out there, I have known this young woman for almost 20 years now.
Almost 20?
Yeah, and we met online when. All right, let's give a little bit of background, Jamila. So back in the day, before I was a podcaster, this young man used to be a producer and work in a studio and make hip hop beats. And Jamila was one of the first period R&B singer that I ever worked with.
I was the first?
Oh, yes.
Dang.
You were the first R&B singer I ever worked with, and I think we met on MySpace.
I think so, yes. MySpace. Wow.
Yeah. Now, for everybody out there, now when I say, so I'm dating myself when I say MySpace. Okay. All right. Dating myself. Yeah. MySpace. That's, oh my God, so long ago.
MySpace is the OG of all social media platforms, I think. I would say.
Yeah. I think MySpace hit, and then shortly after that, Facebook hit after that, and then everybody was like, forget MySpace.
Oh, yeah. And then I think it tried to come back with Justin Timberlake, but it just didn't pop again.
No, nobody wanted MySpace after that.
Nah.
It's like, come on, don't do this. Don't do this to yourself.
Wow.
All the drama. But Jamila, you were super talented. I mean, you are super talented. You were doing some amazing things in your neck of the woods at that time, and you still are. So for everybody, Jamila, tell them a little bit about yourself, because I'm in the East Coast here in the United States, but you are living where?
I'm living in Canada, so I live in Hamilton, Ontario. It's probably a 45-minute drive from Toronto, which is our capital. Wait, don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on what the capital is.
Wow.
Don't quote me. I think it's Ottawa.
She doesn't know her capital. As if we do.
Oh, true.
Harrisburg.
I'd be impressed if you could list 3 cities from Canada, any random. I would be very impressed. You don't have to do that. But okay, challenge on.
Oh, you want me to list them?
Can you list 3 different cities in Canada?
Toronto, Calgary. Huh?
Go ahead, keep going.
Calgary, Ottawa? No, Manitoba. Is it Manitoba or Ottawa?
Manitoba is a province, but we'll go with Ottawa.
All right.
Okay,
and yeah. Actually, I have a lot of associates in Canada.
Oh.
So I was abreast and taught about a little bit about Canada. I'm not going to fuck around and act like I know everything. Like, I'm about to make it like, yes, I know the history of Canada. I'm very literate. No, I'm not. But I've been blessed to meet some really cool individuals from Canada. And I will say this, Canada has some of the most talented people ever. The funny thing is, when you all get here, you never know.
That's true.
It's everybody I know is getting here. They're like, yeah, it's like, yeah, where are you from? Miami? Where are you from? New York? I'm from Canada.
Just blend in.
Yeah, you guys just blend in, and it's like, no, yeah, I'm from Canada.
From Canada, eh? Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, I have a friend of mine, shout out to Callie Cartel, who does the Truthful podcast. She is a native of Toronto.
Nice.
And she was just telling me, she said, Canadians don't really push each other or in that way that you all do in the United States, where you got your entertainers and they'll push a Beyonce or something like that. I know you and I were talking about that as well, and you were saying the same thing. So is that true? Is it kind of hard to make it? Or
I think so. I believe it's hard to make it in Canada because, one, our population is way smaller than even some states in the United States. But I find like I've always gravitated towards the States because I'm like, even your local artists have the biggest support, and it's just phenomenal. But I find here in Canada, or maybe speaking more, I'm going to say the phrase GTA, which means Greater Toronto Area. In the GTA, it's kind of sometimes like every man for themselves, especially in the hip hop scene. And I remember one time I went to a music conference, and a couple of American radio hosts came here, and they're like, we're always asked, why don't we bring our American artists here to Canada? And he said that one of the explanations is you guys don't have a foundation here. Like you can only count on your like one hand how many like Black/urban stations we have. So it's very smaller market here. So I don't know if people feel like there's only limited spaces for each type of artist, but you do find artists who are supportive, and there are communities, but it's just, I don't feel like we've built our own infrastructure like how the States does.
I find it interesting because I know growing up in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is ferociously competitive in the urban and hip hop market, or I don't even know if it's considered quote unquote like they used to say urban market.
Yeah,
African and Caribbean people.
Yeah.
But I know growing up here, it was so hard to get a fan base, so hard to get any type of backing, and it really is crabs in a barrel. I always call it the pigeon mentality, whereas you throw a little food down and one pigeon steals it from the other. So when I hear people from other places say, man, like you guys support each other, it's like, no, we don't. No, we don't. Yeah, I think we have, because you said we might have a more dense population, we have more resources available.
Oh yeah.
Whereas, it's like, okay, I can't get support from this individual, I'm gonna go here, or I don't, you all don't like me, F you, I'm gonna go over here, but it really is difficult, I think, to make it, period. But it's a new perspective when you're saying literally, in your country, in your city, it's like, yeah, but we don't have none of that. We don't got none of that, homie. Ain't no Hot 911, ain't no Hot 912, ain't no Hot 9778. Y'all got all the Hot Nines.
Yeah.
We ain't got one. Like,
yeah, we just like for my area, we have G98.7 that plays strictly like Black music, and they do also play Canadian artists. And then we have Flow 93.5, which is an R&B hip hop station. And then it's the college stations or college and university stations that may have different shows for that. But pretty much I just listed you the two top main stations that play primarily R&B and hip hop. So it's very smaller, but when I search on the internet, I'm like, let me try and find R&B radio stations in like one area. I'm like, bam, bam, bam. There's so many. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But it could be a grass is greener, syndrome that I have. But I feel like quite a few people have said that in the industry here in Canada. So it may not just be my own thinking.
And when did you get the whole performing bug? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, the performing bug. I started singing when I was 10. So I was like really into the girl groups, and me and my friends would make that, and we would just perform at the local talent show. So there would always be this one main talent show every year that I'd always try to prepare for. And then once I hit 17, that's when I really started to perform like out in the clubs and whatnot, and just started making a name for myself in the city. So it was with 17, I started linking up with local producers, and I would make some songs, go to their home studios, and then slowly people started to hear about me as being, because in the city of Hamilton, there was only like a few handful of R&B singers. So I started to be that one R&B girl who was always doing the shows with the rappers. So most of the shows I've done were hip hop shows. And then I was fortunate to start opening for a lot of, I guess, hip hop acts like The Clips, Shaw Claire, who's a Canadian artist, Redman, Black Sheep.
What? Wait, hold on. Wait. Let me find out you're an OG in the Canadian hip hop scene, and I never knew this.
Oh my bad. I got to open for them. It's funny because I'm always like, I'm surprised how I did get to open for them, but I think it was just because I was grinding and most people recognized that. So that's how I got those opportunities. So very thankful to those DJs and promoters who put me on for that. So those are great experiences. Yeah. So, and then after that, I would just do a lot of songs, and then I would just go online, look for different producers, and that's how I found you. And a lot of the producers I've worked with were never usually here in Canada. They'd be like one of my main ones. He was from UK. There was one from Poland, just all over the place. So
lots of talent in Europe where it comes to R&B music, hip hop music, just a plethora of talent around the globe. Yeah,
no, definitely. And then I was blessed with a songwriting deal that I got through one of a mixer I was working with, and he was like, "Oh, your songwriting's pretty good. I'm signed with a songwriting publishing company in Denmark. Let me tell them about you." And they signed me on board. So I'm signed as a top liner, and that's a person who writes songs onto beats that's already made. So we would pitch them to record labels. Never got my songs pitched, but I'm still with them, hoping maybe one day the right song will click. But that's kind of helped me improve my writing chops. And yeah, I've been at it for a good while now, just with the whole independent R&B pop singer scene. Yeah.
That is fantastic. I mean, first of all, you're one of the most humble, laid back people, individuals that I know, and I've known a good amount of entertainers, singers, and you always were just like chill, relaxed, no worries, let's do it. So that's the coolest thing. I think it's to hear this. It's cool because you never know how hard a person is grinding until you have a chance to sit down and really hear what their story is. Now, you're a great singer. But you also have some comedic chops.
A little bit.
And no, ain't no a little bit. For everybody that's listening, Jamila has a, what would they call it? Another side to her.
Your side.
A secret identity by the name of Glam Guide.
Glam Guide. Good old Glam Guide.
Now, Glam Guide, and you came up with the character Glam Guide, and it's actually stems from some personal experiences inside. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. With Glam Guide, so for those who are listening, Glam Guide's kind of like an alter ego character I make skits, I guess sketch comedy skits on Instagram with, and she's very opposite of me. She's very sassy, bold, sarcastic, rude, but still in a loving way. And I came up with her because I've had my own challenges with depression and anxiety and lots of negative talk. So whenever I got into a mode where the negative talk was so much, I was like, okay, let me use this as a skit and make this an actual person who's saying these things to myself, and just add a comedic flair. Like, for example, she would call me a Z-lister, implying that nobody knows me as an artist, that I need her help. People are only watching me because of her. So it's all the bad things I could say to myself. I use her as an outlet to create while I'm on this journey of getting myself better mentally. So I find that people laugh at her, but sometimes I wonder, I'm like, she's not really a good person, but people like her and people request for her. So I find it kind of endearing. And she can also, having that alter ego, I can also express more of my goofy side that people don't normally do, because I also thought about this character because I'm like, most people know me as very quiet, but if you really know me, I'm a joker. I like to laugh. I like to goof around. So being able to do these skits provides that outlet and lets people kind of see the real me, even though it's another side. So it's been fun making skits and using her as a character for personality outlets for me.
Hello, digital family. My name is Thor and I'm part of the Delafit team. We certainly hope that you're enjoying the interview thus far, and we'll be getting right back to it in just a few. I just wanted to let you all know that you can go to our website, www.delafitpodcast.com, to learn more about us and our host, Sun Woon Bae. You should also follow us on social media for all the latest information on future guests, show topics, and all of 360 degrees of fitness and health tips and information. On Facebook and Twitter, we're at Delafit Podcast, and on Instagram, we're at DE_LA_Fit Podcast. Thank you and have a wonderfully fit and healthy day.
I like to commend you on that, because I find that, first of all, the way you're handling your anxiety and I think you said depression. Am I correct?
Yes.
I first of all, again, that's credit and kudos to you, because so many people will take other means to try to deal with anxiety and depression. Some of those we're very familiar with, as far as self-medication and doing certain things, harmful things. But I love how you took it to the fact of, let me creatively use this as something, that people can laugh at. Now, was that your intention, to make it so that people kind of laugh at it? Or was it like, what was your thought pattern when you first created her? Like, what, you're sitting there, you're thinking these negative thoughts, and then what happened?
Yeah, I would be thinking these negative thoughts, and I would be like, okay, let's do a skit. Let's do something with her. How are you feeling right now, Jamila? I'm just trying to think of one of the skit examples. Maybe one of the recent ones. Yes. I made a skit where I'm going to speak of myself third person, where Jamila gets mad at Glam Guide for always interrupting and taking her fans and her music. And this was at a point where I was like, you know what, maybe people are just not really feeling you, Jamila, and they seem to like you more as a sketch artist. So my Glam Guide skit was with Glam Guide just proclaiming she's the one who brings the flavor and the spice and all of that. And I'm just,
Jamaican allspice.
Yes, the Jamaican allspice. And I'm just the salt, meaning I'm just bland. And I just went with that little skit, and people enjoyed that one too. But if you want to go into how that relates to my thing in real life, it's like I doubt myself a lot as an artist, because I feel like I've been doing it for so long and nobody's listening. Numbers just haven't changed much. And I'm just like, is this really, do people really care what I have to say? Do people care what I have to do? And Glam Guide kind of affirms that I need her. But that's kind of more to the darker side of what the meaning of that skit is. There's other ones too that I can go deeper into too, but that's how it is. But I make it so subtle that you wouldn't really catch that message. And there's some people who catch the messages, but I just want to make people laugh during this time.
Outside of the sketch comedy, how have you been able to deal with anxiety and depression? And I know that I've suffered and still deal with anxiety, and I've dealt with depression in my life. How do you go about? And now I'll tell you how I dealt with mine. And I was, lifting and basically working out and being active. That has helped me tremendously through a lot of turmoil within my life. For you in the beginning, what did you used to do, or what would you do to kind of help you through those moments?
Yeah. In the very beginning, when I started to notice this was like maybe a good 5-6 years ago. I try to figure things out on my own. So that means I would just go on the internet. I'm like, what can I naturally use to help me get better? And somebody recommended I see a therapist. So I was open to that. So I looked online and I found someone and I met with him. And it doesn't happen instantly. Like, it's been probably way over a year that we've been talking and just figuring things out. I'm also, okay, I also hate to say this because I'm kind of a hippie, but I am also taking medication. That's been a rough journey and hard for me to accept first because I'm very into like natural medicinal ways. When I say that, I mean just like anything from the earth that you'd find at like a herbal supplement store. But it was coming to a point where I was becoming dangerous to myself. So that's why I was like, okay, let's try this. And that's a whole journey in itself because I did try right before that a natural way, but it was helping. But I guess I was just too chemically imbalanced that I just needed more help with that. So in addition with the medication and with therapy, I've been noticing subtle changes. But the thing is, you can't rely on medication itself. You have to also do the work. So when you notice you're thinking certain ways, you kind of have to do the opposite of that. It's actually work and changing your mind frame. And I would say the key thing is whether it's through a therapist or like a religious leader or like a counselor or online counselor, like you still have to do the work. You can't just talk and go. You have to be active and try to be more self-aware so you can catch yourself in these zones, stay away from certain situations that you know that would trigger you. And that's kind of how you get onto the journey of healing. I'm not completely cured, but I can sense a big difference from taking all those steps now.
I have two questions I want to ask you, but one thing major, I think you're wearing some jewelry and it's picking up on the mic.
Oh, darn.
It might be it might be bracelets. Or do you have bracelets on your?
No, it's probably the earrings. You know what? I can just pop these off. That's okay. I'm sorry about that.
No biggie.
There we go. Is that better?
That's fine. Okay. I would say that again, kudos to you because I think maybe now more than ever, we are starting to pay attention to our mental health. Whereas, especially you and I coming from African and Caribbean backgrounds, both of us, so a lot of times, and I don't think it was always like this. I think that at one point in our cultures, we had positive ways to deal with mental health issues, but just in our environments, whether, it's living in a new country or living in a new environment and some of the old ways shifting, we got away from a lot of those things. And it kind of became it became very taboo to talk about having a mental health issue or, you're not feeling good mentally versus feeling good physically. For physical issues, it always seems like we have a remedy. It's like you gotta call the autism turmeric. You put this, rub it on yourself, you're good. Drink this soup with this garlic. Hey, you, with the earbuds in their ear. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast? When I was trying to get my podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. I like to upload my episodes directly to the app and then promote. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it. Go to anchor.fm/start to join me in the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. I just want to thank Jamila for coming on to the show and being so open with her story and sharing just her journey as far as her mental health. Jamila is a very private person. She is one of the most friendly, beautiful, natured human beings that I have had the privilege of interacting with digitally. But she's just a sweethearted person, and anybody that knows her, you can feel that instantly. So I was so blessed to have her come on to the show and just walk us through her journey and give us some of her information and her insight. And again, if you have not heard her music, you are missing out because she is incredibly talented. I recommend that all of you check her out on social media, on Instagram. She is just an amazing individual, and you're going to enjoy it. You're just going to enjoy the energy that she shares and she brings to her craft. Like I said, I've known her for over 20 years, and it hasn't even seemed that long. It just seems that, it was just yesterday. But the things that she shared with all of us today, I hope somebody out there can use this information and it will help them. And I definitely know that's something that Jamila wants. She wants to share things that can help individuals who are dealing with mental health issues, physical issues. It's not easy. It is not easy. And as we say these things, as we share this information, I want you to know it's not easy. We all struggle with something, or I'll say this, many of us struggle with something. Don't think that you're alone out there. Some of the biggest and brightest that shine the brightest are dealing with so much. But there are tools, there are ways to help cope, heal, and to move on in positive, progressive manners. And that's what it's all about. It's really about each experience that we have, that we take it and get the good out of it. Some are easier than others. But what can you do with those negative experiences? What can you do with those negative thoughts, those negative feelings? They're there to help us forge a foundation. But if you don't have the tools aligned to use them, if you don't have the tools at hand already, if you don't know what the tools are, whether they're mental or physical, then that experience, that potential, that situation that you can build off of to make you better can also help to destroy. So I would encourage anybody out there who is dealing with something, find the tools, reach out to people. Don't be afraid to ask. And if you are intimidated to ask, you can always use platforms like this. We try to talk to many different people, and it could be as simple as maybe reaching out and saying, hey, could you talk about this particular topic, or I want to share or ask a question about this. Please don't be afraid to do that. That's why we have the website. That's why we have the email, which is daylifefit13@gmail.com. We are also on social media. We're on Twitter at DayLifeFit Podcasts. We are on Instagram at DE_LA_Fit Podcasts. And we're on Facebook at DayLifeFit Podcasts. You can find us. Please do not feel that you cannot use this platform as a means to try to get some type of assistance or at least a connection. And if we can, we will, definitely. With that being said, I hope that you all enjoy your weekend. I hope it is filled with sunshine, warm air, and good vibes. And if not, make it that way. Make it as good a weekend as possible and a beautiful week to come. Be blessed, be safe, be healthy. Peace.
You've been listening to the Della Fit podcast. Ta-ta for now.